Yo, we locked in. What's the deal, man? What's up, y'all?
We locked in. You already know.
Mikey,
Already
what's
know
up,
we
bro?
locked
Talk
in.
to me, man. What's going on, man?
Man, big baby, man. Big baby, man. What's up, man? Well, Blue Boy home. That's what's up, man. What's going on?
Listen, man, it's been a lot going on with this right here. But I mean, our last episode, so we spoke about a lot. And we're gonna get right to it because we're not gonna be too long. Tonight it's gonna be real brief. We just want you guys to think about something, man. But this is gonna be brief. But we want you to, just chime in because this is important. So we didn't really get too specific last episode regarding Blue Boy and his predicament, him getting locked up and stuff like that. But we kind of alluded to some of the specifics in the case, whatever the case would be like that. But what we did specify was that, and what everybody does know is that Blue Boy is currently being detained right now, and he was basically working at an establishment that's allegedly owned by Glen Big Baby Davis, right? Um, and although Blue Boy is currently on parole, the reality is that we've asked ourselves if he's been accused of a crime, then why hasn't anybody come to his defense? Anybody come to his aid to kind of help him get out of that predicament? One person in particular is Big Baby Davis. And if you notice during the Vlad video, I don't know if you guys have watched it, whatever the case may be like that. Big Baby Davis is talking about, providing an opportunity for Blue Boy, how he's a good dude and stuff like that. So you would think that somebody of that stature would come to his defense if he's in that predicament. New York Links, I see you asking the question. We'll get to that. We're gonna get to that in a brief little bit of time that we are here. Mikey and I, we're gonna kind of give you guys a little bit, but we want to know, the question that we're asking tonight is, with all of this that has been going on, why isn't that Glen Big Baby Davis hasn't bailed Blue Boy out yet? Mikey, go ahead, Mikey.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know if y'all are familiar with the Vlad TV interview that Big Baby Davis did, but he's speaking on Blue Boy working there and everything that's going on with that. You know what I mean? I don't I respect him for giving for giving Blue Boy a job. You know what I mean? Somebody saying he had no bail. I'm hearing his bail is $1 million. From what I know, his bail is $1 million. But Big Baby Davis gave him a job and he talking all this stuff. Who wouldn't want Blue Boy about? I mean, we could play some of that if y'all want to check it out. But we could play some of that interview, the Vlad interview with Big Baby Davis. But he was talking about, how Blue Boy, who wouldn't like having him at their store. He'd be outside doing this, that, and stuff. And he was speaking highly of Blue Boy, all the wisdom and all the knowledge that they was given. And, he gave him a job. So, if you gave this guy a job and some things went the wrong way, you need to get this guy you need to bail him out, regardless of what parole do or what parole doesn't do, because they're not holding people like they used to on parole. They're letting people go. They're letting people come outside and fight their cases now. Parole and bail reform is not what it used to be in New York State. So, regardless of if you're going to have a parole hold or not, even when, we were getting locked up and, we were going through our stuff, if we had a parole hold or not, you had to hold us. You know what I'm saying? We're going to bail out anyway. And if you hold us, you hold us. But if you don't, we out of here. You know what I mean? But everybody in New York, they're giving everybody a chance to get parole. To get bail. I see all kind of people get bails for all kind of serious stuff that you would normally think that I seen people with murder cases on parole, on bail. So we seeing that right now with a lot of other big cases. These guys, the guy that's accused of killing Quavo is out on bail. So they giving guys bails. They're giving guys bails now. Bail reform is big in the country. And definitely and definitely big in the state of New York. So you can't, and parole is not even violating you like they used to. In New York, they can't even send you to they can't even violate you for all kind of different stuff no more.
Yeah, so there's a number of things, right? So, and I think when we start talking about the whole parole hold stuff, there has to be legitimate reason for parole to further detain you. Now we know that he has life parole. We know that. But in spite of that, to Mikey's point, that parole has been very lenient. I don't personally know anybody who has gotten a parole violation in quite some time, right? Now, somebody put in the chat, you're right, not Blue Boy. Yeah, Blue Boy is a high profile individual with a unique history and stuff like that, right? Not everybody has his situation. Only a few individuals can give credit to that. In spite of that, though, one thing that they did do is they let him walk out the door, right? In spite of spending 39 years in prison, he was able to walk out of prison. In addition to that, he hasn't been in trouble, whatever the case may be like that. So that's not even an issue. He gets locked up for this. Again, you're still presumed to be innocent. But the thing about parole is that it's another way to kind of like hold you against your will, even when somebody else in similar circumstances would be afforded a different set of opportunities. So somebody else who's not on parole, who gets convicted of accused of attempted murder, would in this case have an opportunity to get a bail and et cetera, et cetera. When during my case where I also was on parole, this is back in the 90s, right? When I went on the run and everything like that, and they had to come get me from BMO and everything like that, they brought me back to New York, and I still had a bail. Was I on parole? I had to go to my parole hearing, I had to do the whole thing, but I still had a bail, right? So it was determined if whether or not I can either make my bail or they would basically hold me. All right. I went to my parole hearing. They ultimately chose to hold me, which then called into question that it was like what you call it, a conflict of interest with the criminal proceedings, because nobody could then bail me out. So I wasn't going to walk out of prison anyway because parole detained me. So the no question, no question, Sonny Black. The question is if whether or not parole is going to detain him, and I would say no, right? Because somebody put in the chat, as long as you have the resources, right, and the lawyers who will come to your defense and come to your aid, that situation that Blue is currently being accused of right now is shaky at best. He could walk out of prison right now. He can walk out of prison right now. The question is does he have the legal representation to help him in the facilitation of that process? That's the big question. And it's individuals, somebody else put in there. There's like Mike and them. But no, he was working for Glen Big Baby Davis. Let's start there, and then we can kind of branch out into all these other individuals. But specifically, he was working for Glen Big Baby Davis. That is his employer. So if he was such a good dude to use Big Baby's words against him to say, listen, this individual should have the opportunity to be the first to come to his aid, being that he's now jammed up. Not to
And he was
mention,
working for him, being that he was working for
and
him.
he was working for him. And Big Baby knows himself what it is to be in a situation like that, because a few years prior to that, he himself was jammed up legally. So he knows how it is to be accused of something and want to get up out that predicament or whatever the case may be like that. So go ahead, Mikey, prompt me, man.
Nah, you good, you good. Um, yeah, Big Baby Davis got a few years ago. He got a case for some weed. He got caught with a bunch of money and some weed, and they tried to say that, he was hustling, that he was he was grinding. He said, "I'm not a hustler," whatever. And he bailed out. He copped out. He paid a $15,000. He paid a $15,000 fine, and he got around the case. He was on parole on probation for 3 years, and he got off in 2021. He got sentenced in 2018. So he knows what it's like to be a part of the judicial system in America.
Yeah.
And how, like you said, Moshe, how he spoke so highly of Blue Boy, you would think he would be the first person to, let me get Blue out of prison.
Yeah.
And if they hold him, they hold him. I'm not saying that parole might not hold him. If he has a parole hold, he knows he has a parole hold now. If he has a parole hold, that means he has a parole. If he doesn't have a parole hold now, if he could bail him out now. You understand? You know that, Mo. When you get locked up,
Yeah.
that parole hole greets you. That parole hole meets you. You know what I mean? So Blue got a bail. You know what I'm saying? He don't got no parole at this point, so it's not going to be one right now. Straight up. Nah, but if parole,
Well,
listen,
there's
when you go to prison and you on parole, you know when you get locked up if you have a parole hold or not. That is immediate. That's not something that they hold for you to go to court and talk about and none of that. When you go to court, when you get locked up, they know if you have a parole hold or not. That doesn't change with the time. Now, as you're fighting your case, when you do your violation, you can still have a bail. They still can let you out on bail after that. I've seen that happen to a lot of guys. They do the parole violation and then they bail out.
and that's a
But
possibility. Sonny Black was saying that Big Baby might want to do it, but his PR team is saying nah. I disagree with that. I'm gonna show you why, my brother, and this is why I disagree with that. Right? He hired him. I mean, if he didn't, he said it in the Vlad interview that he didn't just hire him just to take out the garbage. He said even if taking out if he got to take out the garbage or put the water, put the carry the water inside and put it in the refrigerator, whatever like that. But not only that, he said he used this language specifically to say like who gonna act up knowing that we got Blue Boy out there out front. That's how that was his language when he was speaking. So, Sonny Black, you my brother. I love you, but I'm just saying, with all due respect, I think that he himself knew that potentially something might occur, especially in that particular environment, because I mean the nature of the business, things just happen, right? I mean, why do you need security? Why do you need security in your establishment if you don't think that something may occur, right? So
right.
you hire security with the expectation that if something does occur, then you have somebody there that's going to hold it down. And he hired, in this case, Blue Boy. So, being that you're the employer, you have to expect that your employer will come to your aid. So I don't see PR, public relations, being an issue, saying, "Hey, back away from this." He's the security. I see them coming to his aid, coming to his defense. So I just wanted to push back a little bit on that on Sonny Blackwell, because I just kind of look at it as a way to say, they should. Yeah, I can see why you disagree with that. I can see why you respectfully disagree with that. I do, bro. I do. But we just want to kind of like bring some clarity, and we do have some inside sources that's telling us some other things too, right? So about Big Baby's situation. So does he have the money? Because just because you play in the NBA doesn't necessarily mean you got the bread, right? Not everybody is Steph Curry. Not everybody's LeBron James. Not everybody has, invested their money a certain way. So some individuals is still struggling. Some individuals is not. Their money ain't up as we would think that their money is up, right? But
Facts.
they doing better than your average dude in the hood who getting money, right? Their money is a little bit more up than that. But when they sit in the room with other NBA players, their money ain't where you would think that it is, right? So I don't think personally, from our sources, from what me and Mikey have been told, right, from our sources, that Son bag is like that. I don't think it's like that.
Nah, yeah.
And again, I'm not watching nobody bag. That's none of my business, right? But we got some reliable sources that said that Son might financially, he might not even be in a predicament to be able to put that type of bread up right now to bail Blue out.
And
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 that's I'm
and
just saying.
he's claiming to not even own the whole thing.
Yeah, so I don't know. Even if Son was in a predicament where if Blue Boy wasn't on parole, I don't think Son would just outright say, "Look, boom, I'm gonna throw that at him like that." And I'm not knocking him. I'm just being 100 that everything ain't what it appeared to be. And these are just some lessons that, you know, that we all need to kind of like learn from. Like, as Mikey like to use a cautionary tale. I mean, we got to take a lot of this stuff into consideration. Just the way that we think. I was having a conversation with somebody earlier about putting yourself in situations, precarious situations, where thinking things can get real interesting for you. We got to really be strategic in our thinking. We can't be haphazard in the way that we think. We got to be strategic. Our moves have to count. Every move we make has to mean something. It can't be something that's for the moment. That's for the moment. Can't be some spur of the moment type stuff. It has to be well thought out. It has to be in your best interest. You have to factor in all the variables, and that's something that we shouldn't overlook. So we have to be very mindful of that. Another thing that we have to take into consideration is just being mindful of your circle, because not in all instances are the people in your circle for your best interest. Just because somebody is your employer, just because somebody appears to be helping you in the short term, does not necessarily mean that that relationship is beneficial for you in the long term. I'm sure that all of us can relate to personal experiences or experiences from others who we know did not fare well in their interactions with others. Doesn't necessarily mean that it didn't look good on face value when you hear something like, "Oh yeah, some of them over there, they doing this," but then in the back of your mind, you might be thinking, "You know what? I don't know." Yeah, we saw that too. The New York Post article. We actually have that. He was held without bail, but things are subject to change. And this is what I'm saying about a good legal team that you have to have by your side. Is this something that's being pushed, or are the hands like kind of like off? Because one thing we do know is that some individuals with resources are treated differently than others, right?
Yep.
In these circumstances, somebody like him in this case, it's just like, all right, well, it's just another dude who's a career criminal, whatever like that. We just gonna throw away the key and kind of like just put him in a cage, right? But that wouldn't apply to somebody else who had connections, who knew people, whatever the case may be like that. We see that time and time again. That's a good question. So early, is he institutionalized? I don't know. I think after spending 39 years in prison, I think I would have to say yeah. He admitted it himself. So I mean, I would have to only go with what he states. But that's 40 years in prison. I mean, you would have to imagine that he is suffering from these idiosyncratic type behaviors where, unfortunately, some of the things you do kind of are like reflective of a prison environment. People being close to you, you constantly darting your eyes around, looking to see what people are doing. You being on a hyper aggressive mode. I don't think that's a knock on him or anything like that. It just, sometimes you grow accustomed to living a certain way because your body has been trained to live like that because you've been in a particular environment for so long. So it doesn't mean that he's a bad guy. It just means that, unfortunately, that environment kind of like, to some extent, helped shape and mold the way that he actually thinks and how he conducts himself. So and that's another thing, another point. And I realized that from working with individuals who come home from prison. Miss G, shout it out. Thank you so much for your support. We truly appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Appreciate
So
you, Miss G.
thank you, Miss G. So we can't invalidate the fact that you got to be able to have an awareness of social cues. When you walk into a room, it's hard after you spend so much time in prison to kind of understand the temperature of the room that you're in. It's easy to do that when you walk in the B block Attica yard when you in Clinton, you know what I'm saying, when you're in Elmira, the field house, when your mind is like locked into that prison setting, it's easy to kind of like, all right, yeah, I'm gonna just go outside. I figure out how I'm gonna deal with this. They got the metal detector there, they got the bubble over there, they got the cameras over there. You kind of like already looking at that environment, you know what to do, how to do it, how to get away with it. But when you walk into these different environments where you haven't really been, individuals have mastered this particular way of interacting with each other while you are like a novice. You don't know what's going on. So individuals is kind of like spinning you where you sitting in the cut trying to, so being aware of your social cues, how to speak, when to speak, what to say, when to say it. Something you could say that seemingly innocuous could be harmful to somebody else. I've been in situations like that where I've said things and people felt offended. So it's like it's so many different things. So early, that's a great question of, is it institutionalized? Am I institutionalized? Is Mikey institutionalized? Like, I mean, some of us are able to kind of break through those shackles of institutionalization, because we just been able to we acclimate ourselves back out here a little bit differently because our social structures are a little bit more intact than others. I don't know. That's the question that we asking. If given the opportunity, would he bail him out? That's
From
what we
what we
asking.
hear, from our sources, Big Baby is acting like he don't got no money. He don't got it. He owe somebody that owns the spot money. He don't own the whole company. He doesn't own the whole company that they had that he was working for. So when you start hearing stuff like that coming out, that means you ducking. That means you not. He hasn't made no statement. He was happy to make that statement on Vlad and talking about Blue Boy, when he was working over there, when he gave him a job. So why is he not talking about him now? He could have easily had somebody come out and speak, yo, he's innocent. We're gonna prove him innocent. He got our full support. We didn't hear none of that.
We haven't heard that.
We should have heard that because he was very vocal about Blue Boy when Blue Boy got the job.
He was
He
very
was very
vocal.
vocal. So we should have at least heard, we got his back. He didn't do it. He's innocent. He was right. He did the right thing in the situation. We didn't hear none of that from that side.
Yeah, we didn't hear anything that you would think an employer,
That's big news, bro. So that's two
work.
things.
Yeah, an employer that's your employee is working for you at your establishment. We haven't heard anything from a PR standpoint. Like,
that's public relations. They supposed to make a statement, bro. They were supposed to make a statement to the community.
Yeah, and that happened some time ago too.
So it should be something out there with Blue Boy, Big Baby, or at least his company talking about Blue Boy in a situation. We didn't hear nothing.
Yeah, so
we
early
didn't hear nothing from
he is on parole. He's on life parole.
That silence is very loud right there, you heard?
No, silence is extremely loud in this case.
That silence right there, though, specifically that silence is very loud. I mean, when we used to run the streets at one time when we were younger, if you caught certain type of cases, conspiracy cases, certain kind of cases, we was not contacting you. We out the back door, but we was in the streets. You an NBA player, and this is a legitimate company. We are supposed to hear from you. We even heard from, in the Young Thug case, we seen music execs go to his aid. We seen music execs speak up for him, go to court and speak for him, and try to get him out. We not hearing none of that from Big Baby Davis' end. We not hearing nothing from him. But he was vocal to promote that Blue Boy worked there. And see, this is why this is a cautionary tale, man. Because we come out here and people will exploit us, man. People are waiting to exploit us, bro, and just throw us away like we nothing and just disregard us and be like, some was a bug out. Use things like, and flip it on you. Some was institutionalized. No, he was working. He got a job and he was working. You promoted it on Vlad that he worked for you. So why are we not hearing anything from them, bro? That silence that we're not hearing from Big Baby Davis and that side is very loud, bro. It's very loud, man. It's telling.
Yeah, yo, and you know what, Mikey? That's bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. The silence, when you say that silence is loud, it's resonating, it's speaking loudly when it should be, when your voice should be the loudest.
Yeah,
I think we're more vocal than Big Baby at the moment, right? Because we're looking for the some of the answers, like, yo, like, I mean, I get it, but like, why you're not out front saying, hey, because look, you are a former NBA player, you are a former NBA champion, you played with the best of them. People know who you are. You should be using your platform to say, hey, let me educate the public about who this individual was. All right, you don't have to get to the specifics of the case. But when we talking about character references, when we talking about individuals who can attest to the credibility and the integrity of a person, he did that in the Vlad interview.
that's what he did.
And he
He
did
was
that
wise. He
when
talked about his wisdom.
yeah, about how working with him, he's able to get some of his wisdom. So, but now when he's accused of something of this magnitude, where perhaps it may result in him spending the rest of his life in there, I think you should be, me personally, I think you should be like out in the front saying, hey man, you know what? I work with him. I work with him. I was glad to work with him. While I will not speak on the veracity or the truthfulness of these allegations, what I can say is that we here at this establishment, we fully support our employee, etc. And but we have not heard, not even that, at the very least. So I mean, if you're tuning in for the first time, man, this is Moshe Canty, Mikey B, host of We Locked In. Thank y'all for tuning in, man. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button on your way in. Share with at least one person who you may think could benefit from this. And I also like to say that too, Mikey, man, coming home from prison, like, you got to reevaluate. This is another thing a point I want to make. You got to always reevaluate relationships, man, because not only are you meeting people who you don't know, but you're reestablishing relationships with people who you haven't seen in years. You don't know what they've been through, what's been going on. You don't know what's been happening in their lives. So to somehow expect that the relationship you would have with them 20, 25 years ago is unrealistic. You would literally have to learn people all over again before you can, like, truly know who they are. And even then you might not know who they are, right? So I just think that it's so much with that right there. I don't know. Personally, I think that the way that he spoke up for him, if this was truly somebody who you valued to be in your space like that, then yeah, it's no doubt that morally you're obligated to kind of like step forward and speak up for that. I totally agree. No question.
That's right, bro. I mean, at the end of the day, man, I just think we should be seeing more support from that end. Um, Vocal support, moral support, um, you know, some type of show. But this is another whole different angle. But a lot of them NBA dudes don't be real though. They be letting the NBA dudes fight for themselves. They don't be fighting for rights. Them dudes is not. A lot of them dudes they in it for the money. They don't care about people or other things. They in it for the bread, bro. You know what I'm saying? They get their money and they out of there. They don't care about they don't care about other people. They don't care about whatever is going on in the political world or how it's affecting the community or whatever's going on. Them dudes, they turn their back a lot, bro. You know what I mean? They turn a blind eye to a lot of stuff, for the guys they ball with their own teammates. So you gotta expect these dudes to be on some nonsense sometime when it comes to stuff. They're not really real. They're not real dudes. You might got one or two that come out of there, three every now and then, but them dudes is not real. As a group, they there for the money, bro. They good at sports and they there for the bread, you heard?
Yo, I see we got the guys in the building. I see Nayboy is definitely up in the building. And I know Nayboy, you can't chime in with us, although I know you would love to. Currently you're at work right now. Shout it out to you, man. Nayboy, you were the first one that actually interviewed Blue Boy when he came home. And I saw on Vlad TV, and he said he introduced Blue Boy to the world, and that's just not true. I just don't know why he would even say that. And not that I have anything against him or whatever the case may be. Like, it's just that statement wasn't true. Shout out to Nate Boy that's in the chat, Mikey. I don't know if you saw that, but he was the one that actually conducted the first interview that we have knowledge of, that
Yeah, him and the
you two
sister.
have
Him and the
knowledge
sister.
of.
Yeah, him and the sister.
Yeah,
That was the first interview when Blue Boy came home. We were the second.
absolutely. And We Locked In was definitely the second one. We was up there with Mel Cross, even Scully from Jamaica, Soul B. A bunch of us was on there together with him, man. It's like a little welcoming party and things like that.
Yeah, that was
But
fire.
nah, that was all the way fire.
That was fire.
So yeah,
Shockwell.
yeah, Quell was definitely on deck too. So yeah, this is and these are just cautionary tales. But yeah, we're gonna keep everybody like posted. But we're also gonna ask these critical questions. Don't think we're gonna shy away from asking these questions that are important for us to kind of like answer, for us to be mindful. Like, yo, let's just, be aware of what's going on. Not being in the dark about, some of these issues that are impacting us overall, because when it's happening to him, it can happen to all of us as well. In this case, I'm talking about Blue Boy. So again, like I said the other day, we do want to be able to speak about these issues, but we also want to discuss the much broader issues um that we're all impacted by. We know people who are getting locked up every day. We know individuals who are not being supported the way that they should be supported and stuff like that. But this is just in the public's eye. And it's just really, really sad that he's sitting in it right now, and we're not hearing anything from the Big Baby camp. So hopefully that narrative will change, and then we'll come back on here, inshallah, and give you guys some more clarity regarding how we feel about that. So, Mikey, I know we was gonna keep this short tonight. So is anything you want to say before we close out, bro?
We got some powerful interviews coming up. We got some powerful. We got West Coast. We got West Coast tomorrow. We got East Coast, Pee Wee and them pulling up, Shaq and them pulling up on Sunday. I told y'all we gonna have some stuff coming for y'all. We working, bro.
Yeah,
We locked in. We locked all the way in. You know what I'm saying? We got some
yeah,
powerful pieces coming for y'all, man. We got some good information, some good stuff coming for y'all. You heard? Word up.
yeah, and that's a good point, Mikey. Tomorrow we're gonna be interviewing Terrell Tillman. This the Hoover OG right here, man. From out LA. He's doing real good. He wrote his book, Formula for Successful Reentry. This brother right here is really, really, really focused right now. He's making some serious moves, and he was really about that life. He just kind of did this 180, and he now has a formula as to how you can come from out of these penal institutions, and you can pretty much not only reinvent yourself, but you can kind of bring that positive energy back out to your community, similar to what Mikey, KK, and I are doing now, and kind of help change the narrative for your family, for your community, for the people who you love, and things like that. So we want you guys to tap in tomorrow. We're gonna be speaking to the brother Terrell at 8 p.m. And then, like to Mikey's point, on Sunday at 5 o'clock, we're gonna be talking to some of the, we're gonna shift the gears from the West Coast, and we're gonna come over here on the East Coast, and we're gonna talk to Pee Wee. We're gonna talk to Shaq Brim, and we're gonna speak to these individuals about their experiences while they were incarcerated, and their successful reentry of what they've been able to do since being released, their life after lockup and stuff like that. These individuals are legends. They're giants. They have a story to tell. I would advise everybody out there that's tuned in to please pull up,
Hit
get
that
your
notification
popcorn
bell
ready,
now. Make sure y'all hit that notification bell.
hit that notification bell, because these individuals are giants. In fact, these individuals don't even give interviews like that.
They don't.
But
I didn't even see them. I know. I think Shaq did one. Maybe did Pee Wee did it?
Shaq did one. Pee Wee ain't do none. So just the fact that these individuals is coming up on our show speaks volumes to the level of respect that they have for us. And again, we don't want to promote anything negative. We're gonna speak with our brothers who we've known for quite some time and give them an opportunity to share their stories, but we want to use this as an opportunity to build and grow, and see how we can kind of help each other in our current state. So we hope you guys support us, man, and you guys will be there. I know the playoffs is this weekend too, but our story is more important than what's going on TV, man. Give us an
Yeah, y'all can just
opportunity to
tap in with
support
us, and we can,
what we
tap
locked
in with
in,
the.
then go to the football game.
Yeah, that's right. You tap in with us, then we tap in with, we go back to football. I love football myself. I'm gonna be watching it too. But this is legendary stuff. Us that we locked in, we always try to keep y'all tapped in to the real major figures in the streets. Solid brothers that's out here trying to do the right thing. And we trying to give y'all exclusive interviews, exclusive content that nobody else did. You know what I'm saying? We ain't trying to make up stories. We trying to give y'all the real stuff that we getting firsthand, and we trying to bring the people up here that y'all ain't seen, that y'all only heard of. Real legends and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's how we working. That's how we giving it up here on We Locked In. You heard? Make sure y'all subscribe if y'all not subscribed. Make sure y'all subscribe and share the live. Share it with everybody so they know what's up and coming. They know what it's about. They know what we doing. You know what I'm saying? They know what's going on.
Yeah, man. And with that, man, again, man, we appreciate y'all love and support. Thank you to the sister who sent us that love and support. We appreciate that. Without you guys, I mean, all we have is a shell of an idea. But as long as we continue to grow and evolve, we're gonna continue to build and just keep growing and growing and growing. So we appreciate y'all loving y'all support. Like I said, man, I'm your host, Moshe Canty. I'm here with my brother Mikey B, man. We love y'all. We love y'all support. Thank y'all, man. Truly appreciate it, man. We locked in.
Salute. You already know, man. Salute, man. You already know we locked in, man. Tune in.
Peace, y'all.